question is, are you drifting? Things you should know about drifting. Drifting requires no effort. Woo, drifting requires no effort. Just stop rowing and tackling against the wind, and a boat will begin to drift. When you stop the momentum, when you stop the rowing, and you just come to a dead still, over a period of time, you begin to drift. When you stop digging, the Bible says, seeking you shall find, knocking the door shall be open, asking you shall receive. When you stop seeking, knocking, and asking, guess what? You're going to start drifting. Woo, when you don't have no hunger no more for the things of God, you will start drifting. Come on, somebody. When you're not seeking, when you're not asking, come on, somebody, you'll begin to drift farther and farther away from the things and the will of God. It's easy to drift. It's easy to drift. Also, too, it is an unconscious process. You can drift unconsciously. It is possible to drift unaware. In a boat, or undercurrents are often unnoticeable from the surface. The same is true in the spiritual realm. Many Christians have slowly drifted, only one day to find themselves far removed from the scriptures. How many of us is now compromising? How many of us is tolerating, putting up with things that we normally would not put up with? How many things have we allowed to come back into our spiritual life that defile us? And when we first got saved, ain't no way in the world we'd allow this to go on in our life. How many things are we feasting on? How much is our flesh feasting on the things of the world? Things that we know that God is not pleased with. Things that we know that's unacceptable to the kingdom way. You know what I'm trying to say? How much of that we allowed to come back into our lives? And when we begin to allow those things to come back in our lives, guess what? We start drifting. All of a sudden now, church used to be a part of your life on Sunday and Wednesday. Now you're negotiating on Wednesday. Well, I just go on Sunday. Wednesday don't mean nothing to me no more. You're drifting. The very thing that you're saying that it don't take is the very thing that God's saying that it do take. Come on, somebody. I know it's tight, but it's right. You know what I'm trying to say? Just because you're sitting here tonight don't mean that you're anchored. I'm just trying to take my time. I know I'm just trying to take my time. It says never drift upstream or against the tide. You notice when a boat, you know what I'm trying to always float with the tide. They always float with the stream. You know, we're going downstream. But see, how many of us is trying to walk with God, but we're going upstream, meaning we're going the wrong way. And when you start going the wrong way in the things of God, your walk become very hard. The Bible says that the way of a transgressor was hard. See, we say, man, this is a hard walk way. But the Bible says the way of an unbeliever, a sinner, that's what's hard. See what I'm trying to say? God said, take my yoke. It's light. So guess what? It's going to be hard when you're going against, when you're going upstream. Hey, but when you're floating downstream with God, you can float over some things. You can float on top of some trials and some tribulation. Come on, you'll be able to float right through some situations, you know what I'm trying to say, that would destroy the average person. You got to learn how to catch a wave. Come on, somebody, and float with that wave. But when you're going against that wave, guess what? You're doomed for destruction. Are you drifting? Have you allowed the things in life to cause you to go upstream instead of with the tide? Let me give you some faithfulness to the Lord is like rowing upstream. Faithfulness to the Lord. Come here, Minister Tori. Come stand right here. Quickly. Come on, quickly. Stand right here. Tori is my destination. And if I'm over here, vision, as Bishop taught us, is where you're going. Sight is where you're at. I'm trying to reach him. All right? He's God, so I'm trying to reach God. Okay? So I'm rowing. I'm rowing. And I'm trying to get to him. But all of a sudden, come here, DeMario, quickly. This ain't pre-rehearsed, y'all. All of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, DeMario come, and now I'm distracted. So now, DeMario has stopped my momentum. And I'm listening to him, whatever he got going on, you know what I'm saying, things he may be unhappy with in the church, you know what I'm saying, things he must be unhappy with in his 12 meeting and at home with his wife and with his children, all these different things that he's dealing with, you know what I'm saying, my purpose is to get to him. My goal is to be faithful to get to God, you know what I'm saying, but God, the devil has sent someone to bring distraction. So guess what? When I was rowing, you know what I'm saying, reaching my destination, striving to reach my purpose, all of a sudden now I done got distracted. Now I done got sidetracked, so now I'm going backwards. I'm drifting. My goal is right there. But the enemy has sent a trick, and now I'm going backwards. And so instead of me rowing, thank you, man, to my purpose, to reach my destination, now I'm going backwards. Woo! How many of y'all started out on fire for God and now your fire's gone? How many of y'all was determined to see what the end of a saved life going to be like, and now you're not determined no more? Woo! How many of you value souls, but now you don't value souls? How many of you was in love with the things of God, now you're not in love with the things of God? You're drifting.